Once, as we sat staring into the campfire, Dennis had remarked to me that people have been looking into fires like this for thousands and thousands of years. The squeal of these coals is the release of ionized plasma, and into the flickering walls of waves of free electrons thus created, one can see into the past and the future. The fire is the place where the ideas come from. I was silent. I felt our ancestors then, seemingly present on the other side of the interface represented by the flame. What is happening to us? I asked it myself again, but said nothing, silence seeming more eloquent. Dennis wrote furiously part of the day as follows. March 4th. It is now possible to reconstruct the physical-chemical idea that has evolved in the process of understanding this phenomenon, i.e. the fourth-dimensional rotation of matter. I understand from examining the linguistic model we have constructed that the waveform ESR interference that will accompany the work operates in a somewhat different manner than I had thought. It can be explained thus. The psilocybin that occurs in the mushroom acts as an antenna for picking up and amplifying the harmonic ESR tones of all tryptophan-derived compounds of all living organisms within its range. Since the psilocybin undergoing metabolism is superconductive, this means that its range of reception is theoretically infinite, and the antenna does, to some degree, pick up a signal whose ultimate origin is the totality of living creatures. But since the psilocybin metabolism is carried on within the brain or mushroom at a very low voltage level, the antenna behaves as though its range was limited, even though it is superconductive. It seems clear, therefore, that the signal, which on the mushroom and in this ecologically dense area can be discerned so clearly, originates in the ESR resonation of the Yahé plant, though perhaps all of the biosphere is picked up and broadcast amplified via the Yahé superconductive transducer. This understanding will clarify precisely what will occur at the moment of fourth-dimensional warp. Ingesting the Yahé harmine will speed up the process of metabolism enough to amplify its ESR tone to an audible level. This ESR tone will harmonically cancel out the ESR tone of the psilocybin within the mushroom, causing it to lose its electric field and snap into a superconducting configuration. The Yahé ESR signal will have keyed the mushroom psilocybin into a superconducting antenna. It is then ready to have the psilocybin harmine DNA compound being metabolized within the body, condensed onto its charged template. A microsecond after the mushroom psilocybin has been superconductively charged, its amplified ESR wave will then cancel out the ESR signals of the tryptamines and harmine metabolizing in the body, as well as the genetic material. This will cause these compounds to drop into a superconductive configuration and bond together at the exact same time that they bond to the waiting mushroom template. This transfer of superconductive compounds charged within the body to a superconductive template prepared within the mushroom will not occur in three-dimensional space. No actual physical transfer will be visible, as the organically processed superconductive material will bond itself to the mushroom template through a higher spatial dimension. The result will be the work of works, that wonder which cannot be told, 4 dimensions captured and delineated in 3. The stone will be all things, but the elements which are bound together in hyperspace to form it are among the most common natural products, and the function and place of each in the stone can be understood. The stone is a solid-state hyperdimensional circuit that is quadripartite in structure. First, psilocybin, charged in the mushroom to act as a template on which the rest of the circuit is condensed. In the final stone, the psilocybin acts as a superconducting antenna to pick up on information diffused through space and time. Second, the superconductively charged harmony complex within the stone will act as its transmitter and energy source. It is interesting to note that the same energy that sustains the antenna circuits in superconductivity will sustain the whole of the device. The third component of the stone is the DNA bonded to and resonating through the harmony. It will constitute the hyperdimensional holographic memory of the device and will contain and explicate the genetic history of all species. It will be the collective memory of the device, and all times and places and conceivable forms will be accessible within its matrix. The fourth part of the circuit will be the RNA, which will also be superconductively charged. Through its function of self-replication turned through hyperspace, the RNA will be able to project a waveform, three-dimensional holographic image, and thus it will give form instantly to any idea. It will perform the same function it has always had, the process of replication through time, but henceforth replication will be subject in part to the whim of consciousness. Why I and my companions have been selected to understand and trigger the Gestalt wave of understanding that will be the unleashing of the hyperspatial zeitgeist is becoming more clear to me each moment, though I know I won't understand our mission fully until the work is complete. We will be instructed in the use of the stone by some infinitely wise, infinitely adept fellow member of the hyperspatial community. Of that I feel sure. It will be the taking of the keys to galactarian citizenship. I speculate that we will be the first 5 human beings to be instructed in its use. Our mission will be to selectively disseminate it to the rest of humanity, but slowly and in such a way as to ease the culture shock. It is also somehow appropriate that at least some segment of the species have an intimation of the implications and possibilities of this, the last cultural artifact. And so now, against all probabilities and chance and circumstance, my companions and I have been given the peculiar privilege of knowing history will end. It would be a strange position to find oneself in if being in that position did not bring with it a full understanding of what forces it was that brought one there. Fortunately, as the phenomenon is an acceleration of understanding, one gains clearer insight into the forces that have bent space and time and thought and culture back upon themselves to focus them at this point. Now I can look back upon my life as spread before the scanner of memory and understand all those moments that foreshadowed this one. It is easy to look beyond the personal history to the events of history and discern therein the prefiguration of this last moment. As a phenomenon, it has always existed, and it will continue, for it is the moving edge of phenomenal understanding that was generated in the era before physics and has gathered momentum, a constant acceleration ever since. What we are moving toward in 3 dimensions is the passing of this wave of understanding into a higher dimension, the realm of the atemporal. As it happens, it will make this transition through one of us, but there will be no change in this cosmic order, or even a blip on the cosmic circuits, for the phenomenon has gathered constant momentum from the beginning, and it will flow through and beyond all dimensions with the same smoothness it entered, until finally it has moved through all being in all dimensions. Its joy will then be complete when in a vast amount of time it has constellated full understanding throughout creation. If we trigger the eschatology, we will appear to act in the role of the Antichrist, but the real Antichrist is history's distorted reflection of the Christ at the end of time, the cosmic Adam Anthropos. The eschatological Christ is Antichrist only from a historical perspective. It is interesting that among the Mazatecans the idea of Christ is linked to the mushroom. Is this syncretism or prophecy?